Alright, this is Clinton 3, aka Rise of Modern Terrorism. This is World Trade and also the suicide bombers, and this is the first time we really start hearing these terms, alright? Now, in the late 80s, early 90s, there is established the World Trade Organization. All the countries would be put together with the goal of promoting international trade, similar to NAFTA, okay? It was headquartered in New York City, and we famously had two twin towers, the World Trade Center towers, to mark that, all right? Also at this time, the International Monetary Fund is established. This is kind of part of the World Trade Organization. This is kind of a help me out if my country begins to fail. Here recently, the IMF, as it was called, was used to help out Greece when their economy was seen failing, etc. And there's a big question right now with Britain leaving the European Union. Could they use it again, okay? Now, speaking of the European Union, much like NAFTA, the European Union was earlier than this. There's also what we call regional cooperational groups. The European Union is one. All the countries, Britain has now left, United Kingdom, etc. has left, will use the euro's money, and again it's to promote free trade, whereas as well there exists the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation, and these are the countries you see there, of which we are in. And their whole goal, again, is to promote the idea of international trade. Okay? We've now moved really past the idea of isolationism and neutrality, and we're involved in several world organizations, and this is what America is known for today. Now, the big question as well, and the major fear we are still afraid of in the 1990s, is called nuclear proliferation. Now, the prefix pro means for something, right? For life. For life of what? Nuclear. This is the increase of nuclear weapons. Many countries have developed the capability of exploding an atomic bomb. Due to the nuclear treaties we had, we said this is a bad thing. And so we decided to, with the rest of the world, make a nuclear proliferation treaty. What countries could have atomic weapons, how many, etc. 3 countries stand out of this because they refuse to sign it, and it's afraid that they're going to use nuclear weapons. George Bush will refer to these countries as the axis of evil. That is North Korea, Iran, and Iraq. And we'll get to those in a little while, okay? So we're afraid of an atomic bomb wiping out the world, when in actuality, another more violent path had actually been occurring kind of right under our noses. In 1993, the World Trade Center will be bombed. Not in 2001, it is, but in 1993, a Ryder truck pulls up, it explodes, 6 people are dead, 1,000 plus are injured, and this is crazy. This is the first time we hear the term suicide bomber, because the man sat inside the truck and exploded himself. Now, Timothy McVeigh will use a truck similar when he explodes Oklahoma City. He ran away. And for this reason, suspicious trucks and things like that are going to be monitored a little more closely. And so things have to evolve or change from that. In 1995, we have the bombing of U.S. embassies. An embassy, guys, is basically a an embassy is where U.S. diplomats are stationed. Okay, so 2 of these in Africa, where U.S. diplomats or people are held, are going to be hit by suicide bombers. One is in Kenya and the other in Tanzania. And what we come to discover is these people who exploded these bombs are linked in the same way as the World Trade Center bombing in 1993 to a radical form of Islam that is called a jihadist, or what we call in the 80s, the mujahideen, who we actually helped. And so our radars have now been keen on this is a new movement. This is a thing we need to pay attention to. The group, one of the groups that kind of emerges from this that we begin to start targeting will be known as Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda. Now, Al-Qaeda is kind of a global phenomenon maybe outside the United States. There might be some people in the United States, but not really. Really, in the Middle East, they are big. Africa, places like that. So, Al-Qaeda is a terrorist organization with the goal of toppling uh, the world establishment, the big countries, etc., setting people down, uh, setting up Islamic things, and kind of ruling in that sense of Islam. They feel that Islam is the way to go. If you don't like it, you're not part of them. Okay? The leader of Al-Qaeda, if you will, is a man we actually had some connection to. He had been a member of the Mujahideen we supported in Afghanistan, and he actually has some ties with the Bush family. His name is Osama bin Laden, and he begins to produce these ominous videos talking about why he hates America and what he hopes will happen to America. Now, why is he so hell-bent on destroying America? He actually says that America was responsible for the fall of the Islamic Empire, also known as the Ottoman Empire, in World War I. Because without the United States jumping in World War I, the Central Powers would have won, and they would have been able to keep the territory as it is. All these little countries begin popping up: Syria, Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, and they're given these democratic goals, and they lose focus of where they're going. Okay, that's the short of it. Now, around 2000, a U.S. military boat, the USS Cole, will be attacked. It was stationed in Yemen. Yemen is another one of these countries hit really hard by a civil war, and 17 sailors were actually killed when a smaller boat drove into the side, exploded, killed people. It is a suicide boat, I guess. And so now, with this now happening, our attention is now turned to finding Al-Qaeda. And so secretly, little ranger missions, special ops are trying to find bin Laden, and not with much help, okay? He's really hiding out. He's really well hidden. We don't really even know potentially where to look at this point, all right?